Welcome back to the Battery Podcast. I'm Aidan.
And I'm Jack.
We hope you had a very happy Father's Day this weekend. Happy Father's Day to, I think, Brian and Marcus Holman, I think, are the only dads on the roster, but um, happy Father's Day to them and happy Father's Day to any fathers of all the Cannons players who are watching, and all those who are fathers who are listening. Jack, I know you had,
Ryan Drenner,
oh, that's
technically,
right. Not on the roster or not
I
active this
guess
year, but
non-active, but he's a member of the Cannon still.
certainly is. Yeah, it was
Um,
nice to see him on the sideline in Baltimore a couple weeks ago.
yeah.
Um, all right, but we are not. We're happy for Father's Day. We're not here for Father's Day. We're here to recap the really, really disappointing game that the Cannons had out on Long Island on Friday night. A 12-11 loss to the New York Atlas. Yeah, Jack, where do you want to start?
I don't even know. It was just so frustrating to watch. I mean, the looking back over it, like I didn't even know what to think, honestly, as I was watching it unfold, going back through rewatching the highlights and looking back at the stats. I guess the two biggest thing, maybe not they could be the story. I don't know if I would say that they're the top storylines of the game, but the two biggest things that really stood out to me were just actually, you know what? Screw it. I don't even know where I'm going with this. It's just I'm just fumbling around here because you look back at the stats and everything tells me that the Cannons should have won. The just the dominated shots, dominated possession, way fewer turnovers, more caused turnovers, dominated at the X. McMeekin above 60%, but I didn't think of this. I think that New York definitely won the goalie battle, and I was aware of that when I was watching it in the sense that Entenmann played really well. I didn't realize just how poorly Kirst played until I went back and looked at the stats. I don't have it. Where is it?
Six saves.
35, six saves, 35%. Like it didn't feel like, oh, Kirst is blowing it,
Yeah.
but holy moly, that is just horrific.
Yeah, and I think it doesn't feel that way because the Atlas, as you said earlier, had so many turnovers. 24 turnovers and only and 14 caused turnovers for the Cannons. So, like that whole first half, it felt like they didn't have like the Atlas did not have any long possessions, any really dangerous opportunities because they were just giving the ball away almost every time. And I know the sun was definitely a factor. Like we can talk about that for a little bit. And the turf was a huge factor. Uh,
Yep.
but yeah, the if each goalie played or like had 50%, like if we just had each goalie kind of regress to the mean, like the Cannons win this game easily. Um,
Right.
because you also said this 52 shots for the Cannons to 27 for the Atlas.
That's just astronomical.
Yeah, like and this game, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, was tied at halftime. Yeah. 3-1 Boston
Yeah.
after the end of the first quarter, uh 5-5 at halftime.
Yeah, and not only 50 to 27, but on goal, the Cannons had 30 and the Atlas had 18. So still massive disparity, even in terms of the shots that actually got on cage.
Yeah. Um Liam, I mean, the fact that this game was tied at halftime with how each team as a whole played is just ridiculous. No way that happens without Liam Entenmann and the performance that he put in. I know he had
Mhm.
I think a pretty bad game the week before, so especially the next 2 weeks to think about it. He obviously was motivated to turn that around, and boy did he ever. Um, let's talk about the turf for just a little bit. Oh, actually, quick time of possession: 26 minutes 51 seconds for the Cannons, 17 minutes 29 seconds for the Atlas. Um,
Yep.
pretty much every stat, but saves and save percentage is going to be massively in the Cannons' favor for this one. But yeah, let's
Yeah.
talk.
Even down to uh Cannons only had one 30-second penalty. Atlas had three penalties for 2.5 minutes. So we even had more man up opportunities. No one scored on the man up, so it didn't really
The
matter, but
Atlas
just
scored
the
shorthanded.
exactly. That's exactly where I was leading with it. Not only were the Cannons not able to take advantage of the man up, but the not only did the Atlas score shorthanded, but the game winner was
Hmm.
scored shorthanded. I mean, what are we doing?
Yeah, and a classic Xander Dixon goal too. Like Schellenberger behind the cage, shorthanded, you figure he's content, just waiting the clock out. We had that like free double coming. I think it was Ramsey who was basically just hanging out in front of the crease to, try to, he was ready to slide and he had started sliding. But as he does, Xander Dixon perfectly times his cut as Ramsey's going, as I think it was Owen Grant or Will Donovan defending him. No, I think it was Grant defends, like is turning his head. Dixon cuts, obviously does not need a lot of space. We know that about him. Yeah, and Colin Kirst can't save it. And that winds up being the game winner. Just those, I'll say particularly those two moments in the quarter, the other one, of course, being the Costabile two-pointer, just backbreaking. Like,
Incredibly brutal. It just,
yeah. I mean, well, let's just talk about that one. I mean, not as much to say, not much to say other than what we just said, but the Atlas go from being down one to up one. Costabile, I mean, a hell of a weekend he had with the dad strength, two-pointer in each game. Um, yeah,
yeah, that was a juice goal. That exactly. You already said it. That one was just absolutely backbreaking. The Atlas hadn't led in that game until that point, and so throughout the whole game, you're feeling even though the Cannons should be up by more than they were, you felt like the Cannons were the better team on the field outside of the goalie position, I guess, but from attack to D, they were the better team. And it felt like it was just a matter of time that, as it went on and the Cannons maintained that dominance in every other statistical category. It just there was a bit of a sense, maybe or just a hope that it everything would work out and the it would be one too many turnovers for the Atlas that they just couldn't come back from. But then yeah, Brian Costerfield crow hops into one, flips it like that exactly. Just absolute backbreaker. With the home crowd, you're just like, oh.
yeah.
So
We
yeah.
talked so much in his first couple of years about how good Colin Kirst was saving two-pointers. I don't think it's been too many this year, but that's just a save you gotta have, right? It goes from well, about 3.5 minutes to go from being
Hmm.
up a goal to down a goal from the Cannons' perspective. And once that
Yeah.
happened, I was like, they're not gonna win this. They do tie it. Atlas take the lead again, like we said, and then Cannons come this close to
This
tying.
that
Those audio only,
unbelievable.
I'm holding my fingers very close together.
Yeah, unbelievable how close that Marcus Holman
Yeah,
goal was. I wanted it to be a goal so bad, but watching the replay, I knew it wasn't, and it just felt like, of course, the
yeah,
Cannons aren't gonna get that one break.
yeah. I know, like they didn't have, they don't have the perfect angle, right? Because those goal cams are a little bit inside the net, so it's not right down the line. Feels like maybe if they had like the ABS system in baseball or whatever system they use for offsides in soccer, like maybe it winds up counting with that. Like if there's some point in the trajectory, I don't know where it even would have been though. But yeah, like based on everything.
Yeah, if it was like a floor to ceiling or whatever kind of crossing the plane, but based off of the bounce, it definitely was a smidge on the white. So
Uh,
they got the call correct as much as it sucks. I
Yeah.
guess it would suck more if they got the call wrong,
Yeah, if we
but
felt we knew it went in and it still didn't count, but
but it's the that was the correct call.
yeah. Yeah. Um
But anyways, derailed us there. Yeah, let's talk about this turf.
yeah. I don't I think I saw some guys wearing like turf cleats, turf shoes that don't have as big spikes. I didn't see it as much in the other games in PLL or WLL. So like I hope if players had those shoes like that, that they went out to wherever the nearest sporting goods store was and bought new cleats or got sent new cleats like with long spikes because I mean they were slipping around like they were in sneakers on wet grass. Like it was brutal.
I was shocked at it because I mean, I don't know the details behind Hofstra. Did they get a new turf field? But in general, Hofstra is not a new venue to
No.
professional lacrosse. These guys have played there before. They played there last year. Like it,
And presumably there was a lacrosse team playing there this year.
yeah, I don't understand why so many guys would be slip sliding all around.
Yeah.
Like that just shouldn't be happening.
Yeah, it. I felt like it. Maybe it did happen a little bit more to the Atlas, at least maybe my perspective, or maybe I was just noticing it. I don't know how it happened. But yeah, I don't know. Like we gotta ask someone with the league or with the Cannons or someone like just
What was the
what's going.
deal?
Yeah, and yeah, I think Seth Tierney too is who is like the rules official for the PLO. I believe he is or
He's
was.
the head coach.
Yeah,
He still
yeah.
is the head coach at Hofstra.
So this
Like
really
that is his field.
can't surprise anyone. What's going
No.
on? Yeah, I mean, obviously we don't have a solution for it. We don't know really what was happening there. But like, I feel like after the first couple minutes, I would have, if I had one of those shoes, I'd be like, hey, can we like send a staffer or someone like
Yeah.
size whatever you are, and like just let's go get 6 pairs of shoes so that we can stay on our feet during this lacrosse game in the second half. Like that,
Yeah, it was early in the game. Was watching in the first quarter. The Atlas uh got the ball and I don't remember who had it, one of the polls, and they were in the shade. We can talk too about the sun a
Mhm.
little bit, but they're in the shade and passed it to Entenmann, who was behind the net, and he just straight up didn't catch it. And I audibly said, "Whoops." Uh, and it was fine. I don't know if he picked it up or another defender picked it up, but they moved it down the field, and then I think it was Brian Costabile was just casually like jogging at the top of the 2 point arc going towards the benches and almost lost his
Yeah,
footing. And I said, "Whoops," again. And I'm there with Anna. She's like, "What are you saying?" And I was like, "Oh," and then lo and behold, like throughout the rest of the game, like it literally was a slip and slide.
yeah. It like I'm not saying. Oh, I mean, it impacted some plays. I don't know how much players were consciously thinking about it. Like if they're like, oh, I can't like cut as sharp as I want to because I'm worried about falling. But you got to figure someone like Weissar or Regneri or Brian Kelly
Well,
who like
did,
really
didn't hurt Ragnari.
no. He still looked. I mean, yeah, we can talk about some positives in a second here. But like for those players who like side to side quickness, like it would have been really funny to see how Sowers handled this because him moving quickly, like splitting left to right, is like most of his game.
Yeah.
I I feel like at least a couple times we would have seen him get called for in the crease because he'd be trying to dodge from X and just like fall down, put his hand out to catch himself, and that hand winds up in the crease. Um, so obviously, and that would have embarrassed Philadelphia, which I always enjoy to see. Um, so I like, yeah, I don't know what we're. Let's hope that if this is going to be the new home for either the New York Atlas or another expansion, bringing back the Lizards, whatever. Um,
Yeah.
and let's hope for the sake of a Hofstra University athletics that by 2027 this is resolved. Uh,
I got to imagine it is. It had to have just been a weird thing going on this year because, like I said, I don't remember this ever being an issue in the past.
no, I can't either. They've definitely gotten new turf from I guess 2019 would have been the last time that the PLL was playing on that, or the MLL rather was playing on that. Um,
But the PLL has also come back to
oh yeah, they
Houston.
have. Yeah, the 2024
The
uh,
the
that
championships.
champion. Yeah,
Yeah, semifinals were there.
right.
Um,
And I don't remember slip and sliding in that game, although I did watch that game immediately after running a 5K, so my memory might be a little foggy. Um, let's talk about the other big elemental factor from this, which is the sun.
yep,
Um, I am glad that this field is not oriented east-west so that it wasn't in a goalie's eyes, for sure.
right.
But the downside until you get into like a Foxborough-sized stadium is when that sun sets, it's going to be in players' eyes if they're passing side to side, east-west, which is a pretty common thing in lacrosse. Um, and it definitely was a factor in because there was no like 1 p.m. game or it wouldn't have been a factor. So it was definitely a factor in the Cannons game and then in the WLL game that happened about the same time the next day. Um, I mean, I don't know that there's much to say about it other than it really sucks. And
Yeah, and there's nothing you can do about it either. I mean, it's the sun.
yeah,
Like you're the options are either play at 1 o'clock or play at 8 o'clock, but the you don't have that option when you have multiple games.
yeah, and certainly not. Yeah, you would not want any game starting later than it did. Because that New York
Oh
game,
yeah, no, don't give me like a 10 p.m. East Coast
no,
game
not the
like
World
an
Cup.
eight no like a 8 o'clock and an 11 o'clock on the East Coast just to avoid the sun. Like it sucks, but you got to deal with it because no, we're not starting a game at 10, 11 o'clock at night over here.
No, not unless there's like a rain delay or something. There's always like one crazy late PLL game. I would imagine that's going to happen like out in the West Coast.
True, but yeah, but that also is the impact of being on the West Coast. So it's not as late local time. Like you're not starting the game at 10 o'clock on Long Island.
Of course, yeah, and they never should. Um, all right, let's should we talk about some positives for Boston?
I would love to talk about some positives for
Yeah.
Boston. There's not a lot of them. There hasn't been a lot of them this season, but I want to focus on them.
Yeah. Mick Kelly, well done. Best game of his
Wow.
career as a pro. Uh, it did mostly happen in the first half, unfortunately. But 4 goals, a career high. I think he had an assist. No, he did not. But four
No.
goals, like he just looked like a dangerous Dodger, and especially with Campbell out, he was getting the pole. Um, didn't free up Weissar or Regneri as much as maybe we hoped to. But again, like fantastic. Yeah, best game of
Yeah,
his
no,
career. I
just
think like Coach Holman told us before the season started that like he wished he had played Mick more, and seeing what he's doing in 2026, I wish that too.
yeah, I fully agree. No notes, nothing else to add. Just great game from Mick Kelly. Really happy to see that performance. Other positive that would love to talk about was the debut of Jack Regneri.
Yeah.
Great to see him. He looks like he can play. Had a sick goal.
Yep.
Mentioned it briefly before. Slipped on the turf and still managed to get up and sweep across and put it in. And he had a good contingent. It looked about, maybe a half dozen or so plus of his teammates traveling, mixture of Massachusetts and New York guys that were in the crowd and were getting hype
Yep.
for their boy, and we just absolutely love to see that.
Yeah. Um, talk about like things you weren't sure about until you looked at the stats. You want to guess how many shots Jack Regneri had in this game?
I just saw that 10 shots.
Yeah.
I was like, why does he have 10% shooting? Like that
Right.
sounds abysmal. And then I was like, wait, he had 10 shots in this game? I knew he had more than one. I know he didn't go
Right.
100%, but if I hadn't looked at that stat sheet just now, I would have said three,
Yeah,
maybe
I would have guessed
four.
because Holman had 12, which is also crazy. He went 3 of 12 shooting. Regneri 1 of 10. So like,
Yeah.
It's not a percentage you love to see, but I do love that in his first career game, one, the pace of play did not seem to be an issue for him, and two,
Yep.
he was very comfortable like doing what he's good at, which is, you
Which
know,
is
taking shots.
scoring,
Yeah,
shooting.
hit
Yeah.
separation and shoot.
It's, yeah, he had 22 touches, so almost half of his touches were shots.
Yeah, which is incredible. Um, let's
And
see. We got, I mean, I'll say McMeekin, another positive. I know La Liberty is not Trevor Baptiste, but La Liberty had a pretty good weekend for himself overall.
he
And
did. And I mean, I was honestly surprised, looking back at the stats, that he only was at 40% because it felt like he had some important wins and had some clean wins. And just to the point that we have been saying about how much the Cannons dominated this game statistically, I just would have assumed that with how many turnovers the Atlas had and how many shots the Cannons had, they would have been, oh, for sure, uh, the Atlas just had more possessions. But no, McMeekin was dominant again.
yeah, 16 of 25 for 64%, versus La Liberty 10 of 24, and then he had a couple of violations. Gobrecht and Costabile each took one. So yeah, Gobrecht wins that battle. Obviously, like you said, Liberty not Baptiste. Who knows how they would have fared out? But I mean, he's certainly looking like obviously an upgrade over Zach Tucci, and someone who can hang around in this league and wind up in that top conversation. If he finishes 60% against some of these other teams, he's going to go up against TD Erlin next week in San Diego.
That I think will be really key to see because yes, McMeekin has looked great through 2 weeks, but we should keep in mind that his first game was against Connor Farrell and his second game was against La Liberty. Like
Yeah,
we have not seen him against Baptiste or Nardella or next week Erlin.
yeah.
That will be telling.
Yeah, and I'm definitely not expecting him to be 50% in that game, but I think I'd have to look up
But
what.
if he can be 45, if he can be in the 45 to 50 range, that I think will tell me that this kid can play and that he can be in that top half of the league. If it's, 40% or below, then it's, oh, he's just feasting on bad competition.
Right.
But we'll see.
Yeah, I am trying to pull up 2025 to see how. Um, okay,
2025 for who?
for Tucci, yeah, Tucci went
Oh yeah.
44% against the Redwoods during Boston's homecoming.
What was
Um,
it?
44. So like
44.
not
Okay.
too bad. And then 38 the year before.
Yeah, so if we can beat that, that would be great.
Yeah. Um,
Certainly
I think
beat the
he's going to.
38%.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and obviously the wings play a factor in that. Um, I mean, yeah, all right. Another positive, talking about face-off wings, Connor Kirst looking solid as a D mid. Um,
Yep.
three caused turnovers, couple ground balls. Um, looked really comfortable. Obviously sucks that the trainer wasn't there. But I mean, Connor Kirst certainly like Cannon's hope. I didn't really notice Connor Kirst staying on for the offense very much. It did seem like he was mostly like playing defense and getting off, but obviously if that opportunity presents itself, like he's very comfortable doing that. Um,
Yeah.
he's
Yeah, I
got
mean
a,
he
I think,
only
I think
had he had two shots and 7 touches overall.
you thinking
So
that's
yeah.
most players, yeah. Um, yeah,
Yeah,
Ethan
no.
Ball, six ground balls. Will Donovan only with one. I would have expected he'd have a few more off those face-off wings.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, I would say, Kirst fit into that role really well. Um, let's see, other offensive. I mean, Graydon Hogg, I won't say his best game because I think he's had a two-goal performance before, but another two goals today. Like he looked like he knew what his role was. He was comfortable taking it to the rack. Um, I think he came back into the game, so I'm gonna assume he's okay. But
I was just gonna say that. I thought that he was absolutely concussed on
yeah, his
that
he looked
last
so
goal.
lost.
He had no clue who he was, where he was. but when I was rewatching the highlights this morning, and I was specifically looking to see if I could spot him, and on that last play of the game when Marcus tried to heave it in and
Mm.
uh, Alex Ross got a stick on it, I saw Graydon Hogg was right in there on the crease, so whatever protocol check that they gave him, he seems like he passed it, and so I would
Yeah.
expect that we'll see him in California
Yeah,
next
that was
weekend.
if anyone is listening to this but didn't see it, he diving towards the crease, kind of got a little bit of a fist or an elbow, I don't remember, and then also got the knee of I want to say it was Rex Road sliding across right to his face.
Yeah,
And
something like that. It honestly, it didn't look that bad,
it's
but
how his face
like
looked when he sat
yeah,
up.
it was the contact wasn't like a ooh, that's tough. It was the essentially fetal position that he laid in afterwards, and then yeah, the helmet flying off and the dazed bewilderment that he
Yeah,
had on his face when he sat up.
yeah,
And then I think he even did like a stumble and like
yeah.
walk sideways kind of thing. Like he definitely I was shocked that I was able to find him back on the field because I thought there's no way this guy is coming back in this game.
Yeah,
Like,
and I think it's something I'm glad about the one that it happened close to the end of the game, so he wasn't like playing through a concussion if he does develop symptoms later. But then also that, the Cannons aren't playing again for another week, so that if something develops, and there's certainly plenty of time for him to get seen um,
right.
by either a PLL person or someone else wherever he lives in the off, or not in the off season, but for
During the
his day-to-day
week.
life. Yeah, I assume
Yeah.
it's Canada, but who knows? Anyway. Um, it felt like this weekend there were a lot more players going down and needing to get attended to on the field. I know Patra took a hit off a face-off. I think LaSala took one as well. I think they were both from Michael Rexroad. Um, who else in the woods? And I don't know, but I mean, even just those three, it's like a little bit, they all got back up and kept playing, which is certainly good to see. But yeah, just for whatever reason, seemed to have happened a little bit more frequently. Um,
On that note, should we quickly touch on the other games, unless you've
yeah,
got anything
I,
else left to say about the Cannons?
I mean, I had a couple more negatives, and maybe we can just talk about. We'll talk about the California in a future episode, but Brian Kelly and Coulter McAfee did not have a huge impact on this game.
Hmm.
I think I can specific like Brian Kelly having a few moments where it looked like he had an opportunity to goal and he just wasn't aggressive. I don't know if that was a coaching thing or him wanting to be a feeder or he was scared of getting slid to by Michael Rexroad, what it is. Um, yeah, he just didn't, I mean, it's hard 5 points in your debut. Like it's hard to equal or top that night after night. But from your ex-attackman, it feels like a 3-2, a 2-3 is like not too out of the question with some regularity. Certainly Pennell has plenty of nights like that. Malone, when he was playing back at X Sowers, Schellenberger. I mean, Schellenberger had 8 points in his debut, right? Um, like I don't know. I know in the score sheet here, technically Brian Kelly's. Oh no, sorry, that was Mick. No, all right, they're both listed at attack. Um, I don't know. I feel like Regneri's going to keep coming out of the box, but and it's not certainly not a performance that would want you to have Asher Nolting put back in the lineup. But um, I don't know. It makes you wonder. Hopefully, this wasn't just a flash in the pan for Brian. That he really. I think he scored 5 points in a PLL game, like you belong here. But I think maybe now it's that question of like teams have enough film to kind of game plan for you, and how do you change
Hmm.
to get to those spots after that, and figure out how to get to your spots when they know what you like to do, right? Like it's easy if you got size and speed, right? Because you can like, oh, I know Miles Jones wants to bull dodge me, but I'm not 220 pounds, so I can't stop him. Uh,
Hmm. Yeah,
Brian
no,
Kelly,
this week will be telling for him. I assume that we're going to see him in the lineup again.
yeah,
But yeah, that exactly. I think we talked about this recently, that it's not about what you can do when you uh debut and show up. It's about what can you, when the other guys learn what you can do, what can you then do to counteract that?
Yeah,
That's what will make the difference.
absolutely.
So hopefully he does that.
Yeah.
Something.
Um, just to quickly mention your crazy late PLL start. So it's actually a WLO, but in California, the Charging and Palms will play at 11 p.m. on Saturday. So
Will not be catching that one.
no. All right, let's talk about just the other games. Pretty fun ones all around, I think. But the Redwoods and Archers, it feels like the Archers defense was gonna regress to the mean maybe after holding their opponents to like 7 goals a game. And boy, did they ever. 16-14 final for the Redwoods.
And
Uh,
the Redwoods, excuse me, Redwoods have had a good defense this year too. So I certainly was not expecting
yeah.
that score in a game.
Yeah, take your time, Jack. But I mean, I'll just, the Redwoods were also missing Chris Fake, who had been kind of I would say their A1 defender, like their cover guy. Like he's gotten the Brennan O'Neill matchup. I think he was on Fields this weekend, or he would have been on Fields. And then they've been down Cole Kastner for a couple weeks. I think he's on the pup list. I believe he only played in week one. So you had Matt Wright making his PLL debut. And then you had Chris Conlon, who kind of takes over as like the leader of the defense, along with Cullen Brown, who's playing in his second career PLL game.
Mhm.
So, the higher goal total makes a little bit more sense from the outlet or the Archers rather. Also, they're probably figuring some things out a little bit better. Um, but still, this is the first weekend that the Archers defense doesn't get ice cream.
True.
Yeah.
But and why are they not getting ice cream? Because of Dylan Malloy.
Yep. Who saw Mac O'Keefe get a 7 goal game and said, I will do you one better because he got 7 goals as well. The last one on an elite behind the back that went right into the corner. And he also got 2 assists. So he finishes with 9 points. If you had him on your fantasy team this week, props to you. You probably won your your league, your matchup, whatever you were playing. Um, Chris Cav 3-1. Sam English 1-2. Teeter Erlin had a goal. McAdory had a goal. Um, I wanted to say though, nothing from Ryder Garnsey. Mikey Boehm I mean, he played really, really well enough that he had to be in the lineup when Garnsey was finished with his coaching at Notre Dame, and he's still gotten the primary reps at attack, and Garnsey's running out of the box. So that's going to be really interesting. Because Garnsey's played such like a freewheeling, but also like for a small guy, like very physical, very like flopping around type of style. Um, and that takes a toll on you when you turn 30.
It does. Yeah.
Um, so I mean, he's been one of the more fun players, especially to hear mic'd up over the course of the league's history. Um,
Mhm.
it is, and especially given that that was his rookie year, the team made it to the championship. Like it's sad to see that like careers come to a close for the players who were here when the league was founded. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, you can't take Mikey Boehm out of that spot. I know he didn't have a huge impact on the score sheet this game, but he's definitely justified that all year. Um, let's see. I didn't actually see the final stats for the Archers, but 4 goals for Leo Johnson. I mean, he's been the key, right? The Archers have finally scored since he's come into the lineup. He's looked really dangerous. Steins again. Let's see. No goals for O'Keefe this week. So you think maybe he put too much of the output all in one game there against Carolina last week.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, let's then WLL Charging beat the Charm 12-10. So that is the first time. I guess they're in the teens technically, but it's the lowest scoring game in WLL history. Um, Charging still look like the best team in the league. Madison Doucette is incredible. Izzy Skane is incredible. Emily Harris-Struck's incredible. Riley Campbell, not as many goals this week just because there weren't as many in total, but sister Matt Campbell also looks like a really dangerous player in the league. Obviously, a ton of
Oops.
winning for them. started playing the highlights automatically. Um, and then finish it off with the Atlas homecoming. Jack, how certain were you that the Whipsnakes were going to win this game, either before the game or at any point during it?
Um, a lot of the time was I thought that the Whip Snakes were going to win.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, going into it, the Whip Snakes clearly were the better team, have been the better team this
Yep.
year. And then I know that we've been proven wrong with the whole uh, double weekend homecoming thing. Like and especially even this year, it's been mostly a loss on the first night, a win on the second night. So even though statistically we should throw the night two of the homecoming thing being a tougher game out the window, it's hard to just shake that
Yeah.
idea that you just played a lacrosse game yesterday. Now you're playing another one. This other team didn't play one yesterday. I just can't shake the feeling that it's going to be harder to win on night two than it is on night one, and especially when you're going against the team that looks like the best team in the league.
Right.
Yeah, I think that the Whip Snakes are going to win. That's who I would have taken going into the game. That's certainly who I would have taken through most of the game. And
Yeah.
then lo and behold, the Atlas found a way to come back and win.
Yeah. It was so 16-14 was the final for the Atlas. As I said earlier, another 2-pointer from Ryan Costabile. But the Whipsnakes, I mean, this is a separate gripe, but ESPN Plus did not have the first like 9 minutes of this game because the Savannah Bananas event went over. Even though the whole point of ESPN Plus is you can watch the thing you want to watch, whatever.
Well,
So
how about also the fact that the Savannah Bananas whole thing is that the game is only 2 hours and they stop it
yeah,
when you hit the 2 hour mark, and that's just it. That's game over.
there must have been a weather delay or something. But anyway, so we come into this game about 8.5, 9 minutes in. It is already 6-0 for the Whipsnakes. The Atlas managed to cut it to 6-3, and then the Whipsnakes go up 10-3. Um, so I mean, if you still thought the Atlas were, and then I mean, let's also talk about a couple weeks ago in Rhode Island, the Whipsnakes beat the Atlas 12-6, and that was without Joey Spallina, without Blake Island, like without a lot of their rookie players who've come in and made really big impacts. I mean, how good did that passing attack for the Whips look against the Cannons, in the
Yeah.
previous, yeah, 2 weeks ago? Um, and then you talked about the, 2 games in 2 nights. They don't have Trevor Baptiste, who's probably their biggest advantage. Uh, Also, let's talk about this. Liam Entenmann, 7 saves, 35%, and still somehow they're able to. I mean, this offense clearly has clicked in a way that it was not clicking the first few weeks of the year. I don't know. Maybe their coaching situation feels a little more defined. Um, but they, I mean, just a night and day performance from I guess it was about a month ago now when I saw them play in Rhode Island, and it was abysmal. Like Brian Costabile was so mad in the post, like he looked like he was about to punch the table or something, like with just how bad their offense was. And Schellenberger 6 points, Costabile with four, including that 2-pointer. Matt Rambo with 2 goals. Still doesn't look like the biggest impact player. Like Jeff Teague is
No,
definitely better. Like when he's back, like Rambo's out, but um, he's still that veteran. He has a
he's been serviceable.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. Um, he's definitely been, I would say, better than I thought he would be, and definitely better than the player that got benched for the Whipsnakes. I'm sure he also, I think he's and Stags probably still have a good relationship, but I'm sure he enjoyed beating his old team. It is nice that the schedule worked out that way, that they got to see each other so soon after he got picked up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
So your standings after all of that, after I won't say the most unexpected. Well, not the most unexpected 2-0 weekend, but certainly a very unexpected win on night two. Brings the Atlas from 1-3 with a -10 goal differential to now 3-3 with a -7. I mean, at least the games were close, So, like their goal differential didn't um, go up too much. So the Whips are still the only team in the conference with a positive one. They're at plus 12. The Atlas and Water Dogs are at -7. And then the Cannons 1 and 4 with -5. Um, and there's also that weird thing where because the Water Dogs and the Outlaws and the Chaos all didn't play, the Water Dogs have only played 4 games, as have the Outlaws, and the Atlas have played 6, which is just I mean, stuff like that happens in baseball all the time when there's 162 games, but it's weird to happen in the PLL. Um,
Yeah, to be that far out of it. And because most of the bye weeks so far, they've been like the team gets the bye after their homecoming. I mean, you
right.
had the Archers didn't play in Rhode Island. Technically, the Cannons didn't play or they did not play in Utah, so like they were a bit behind, but then they immediately went into a doubleheader.
Yep.
So everyone had played 2 games after that fact. But then yeah, you have like Maryland gets the bye after their weekend.
Yeah, and the
And
Atlas do
and
have a bye this weekend.
they
And
do, but yeah, California got their bye this weekend, so they didn't.
yeah, so they've
Ha
also only played 4. So they and the Redwoods, or they and the Outlaws have played 4 games, and the Water Dogs. And then you have one team that's played 6, and I think what's that? 5 teams that have played 5, and one team that's played 6. So 5 teams have played 5, one team's played 6, 2 teams have played 3 teams have played 4. I think that
yeah,
is 8.
it's the it'll all even out
Yeah, of course it's
eventually.
all gonna even out. So it's yeah, it's just a weird
It is.
so
Yeah,
they
and it's also weird that the standings it's ordered by wins, not winning percentage. So the Whip Snakes are in first place at 3-2, and then the Atlas are in second at 3-3. And well, I guess technically it's because of the score differential, but the fact that all that matters is your wins. Oh, so they both have 3 wins. They're tied. So let's go to the score differential tiebreaker. But technically
wasn't it
the Whip Snakes have a better record because they're 3-2. That's 600. The Atlas are 3-3. That's 500. Like,
and they are
uh,
listed ahead of the standings and with a better goal differential.
oh, sorry. Okay, so that's a bad example then. Normally, that's not the case.
Yeah.
Or
Oh, I've definitely
like
seen a team with like 2-1 be behind a team that's 2-2.
that's yeah, sorry. That so I guess that if the goal differentials were flipped and New York was 3-3 with a plus 12 and Maryland was 3-2 with a -7, New York would be above them even though they had a worse like record in terms of winning percentage.
Yeah, it is weird how they do that. And of course it does all even out, like every team's gonna play 12 games, but
Right. So it
it's
doesn't matter. It's just weird to see it when it is ordered that way.
yeah, yeah. And I know in the West there were all 3 teams except for the uh Redwoods, I think, were 2-2. And so then it was oh, and made a lot more sense because it was just goal differential. But then I think even a couple teams are tied on that as well. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. Anyway, so I think that is enough to say about this game. Um,
this weekend.
yeah, I gotta say I don't love the Cannons' chances of coming back against California and getting back in the win column. But I will say, the teams have either won both games or they lose the first and win the second, and the Cannons are the first game of the Redwoods homecoming. So let's keep our fingers crossed for that. That they, because they still got for being 1-4 to only be -5 in goal differential is pretty good.
It
Uh,
is.
if they get a bad Dylan Ward game, if they get a bad TD Erlin game, if the defense for California, is struggling with communication or whatever a little bit, like they absolutely can win this. They win it by multiple goals. They get
Yeah,
close to 0 in the goal differential, and that that's still going to help them out at the end of the year. They just have to win as many games as either New York or Philadelphia or Maryland.
right. But we can get more into that matchup later in the week.
Yes, we certainly will. And that's actually I think it's our first Saturday Sunday weekend
It
of the
is. Yep.
um so I guess we have an extra day to get prepped for that. And yeah, I think that'll about do it for us. So we will be back with a little bit more detail on that Redwoods matchup. But until then, go Cannons, go Guard.
Go Cannons, go Guard.
Boom.
Boo!